1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Beautiful Monday morning. Don Browning is in the studio. Don, as you know, is a U.S. Navy veteran. We love to remind you of that. Probably the one candidate that I'm the most impressed with this election cycle, if you don't mind me saying that. He has this segment every Monday morning called Bringing Common Sense Your Way, and he's going to talk to you right now about that. He's running for Marion County Commission, District 3. And good morning, Don. Good to see you again. How are you doing?
This is wonderful. I'm doing really well. I feel just a sense of excitement and privilege to be able to run. The deeper I get into this,
it's got to be something different than what you've ever done before.
Well, I ran before in the 70s. I was a younger man. Now I'm doing it sort of with a point of wisdom. Let's just say that life beats into you, reducing risk, eliminating conflict of interest, operating the way you would operate a company.
I think you were giving an example of how a campaign should be run, and I wish the national level candidates would see what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Well, that'd be a great idea. Number one, conflict of interest. In 2010, I ran against Cliff Stearns, and the whole idea was to eliminate the conflict of interest issue. We had at that point about 8% approval of Congress. Well, now we've got about that approval of the county commission, and the people are intimidated. What I get from folks is it doesn't matter. The system's rigged. What am I going to do about it?
That's what they think.
What does it matter?
That's what they think.
Yeah, that's what they think. But really, you can change it. And the way you change it is the way we've talked over the last, golly, since I've been coming in. But what has to happen is we have to follow the laws. For instance, I'm going to just dwell today on the conflict of interest statute for the state of Florida.
Okay.
It says, everybody needs to read it. I wrote down the number for everybody. It's 112311.
Okay.
Just Google FS, Florida Statutes 112311. It covers all elected officials, all appointed, everyone. All right, so the point is that you avoid not only conflict of interest, but the appearance of a conflict of interest. Mm-hmm. Now, we have situations, and I'll just go through some of the news as we normally do. The conflict that's involved is like this FedEx situation. This is AutoZone, just went in, FedEx just went in. This is this CEP, the SEEP thing. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a real conflict of interest that came up. The superintendent of schools is on the board of this organization. The chief financial officer, our clerk of the courts, is on the board of this organization. Marion County contributes and gives the seal of Marion County to this company. It's really just a very small company, but it actually has a seal. Should it get the star of, say, the constitutional officer of the sheriff? Should it get the star? The candidates running actually participate in this organization. Oh, wait a minute, you can't have all these conflicts. These are just incredible. Then if you look at the funding that comes out for one of these elections, if you look at the funding that comes out, it just happens to coincide. Remember we went over $1,000, $1,000, $1,000. The money pours in out of this organization. It's a conflict of interest. It flows back, flows out $20,000 a month. Now, I'm going to be on the commission if the voters determine that. Mm-hmm. The very first thing I'm going to do is say, let's have a little checklist here of the conflict of interests that are involved. Who in the world, where did all this money come from for some of the candidates? A few of the candidates. I don't know if the listeners out there have received, I'm sure they have, sometimes 2 mailers in the same day from a candidate. Well, I guarantee you that candidate, when they have that obscene amount of money, it came from like Sumter County, it came from the CEP, it came from It came from special interests that have received typically $250,000 grants.
Wow.
I know it. So it's easy to see the conflict. And the statute says no conflict is allowed for you, your family, your associates, your company, anyone. So I'm just going to say, let's have a checklist. Let's look into this and let's declare. I'm sorry, you had a question.
Well, I did. Why is there a statute and it's not enforced?
Yeah, well, it is enforced at some levels, but the a county is really an autonomous organization. When you elect Don Browning to be your county commissioner, you're putting me on a board with 4 other individuals. It's a $500 million board. That's as big as it gets around here. $500 million. Okay, if I start shoveling money like no bid, we're going to start having bids. If I'm on there, it's going to get rather obnoxious when we talk. And these are all good people. It's just they've drifted off the road. That's the way I see it. They're good people, but if there's been no bid, let's say on this government fuel subsidized program, gas station. All right, there's been no bid since Charlie Stone was in office, since he did that. It was several years ago. It's been costing millions of dollars that could go to, say, first responders. Let's just pick them. It's popular. Let's pick them. Millions? Are you kidding me? So you take $1 million and you divide it into, say, 10,000 increments. Every one of those families, it would change the life of the family totally. And we wouldn't lose the people off to another county. Let's take a look at the money flowing in from outside counties, right on our border. Well, wait a minute. They may have an interest in taking our trained people if we can underpay. I don't know if you follow that, but let's suppose we underpay you, and that is being requested by somebody right over there that's going to hire you and want you all trained. Well, wait a minute. What's going on here? What's going on?
Sneaky,
You know, so there's all sorts of issues. There's all sorts of issues that are a conflict of interest. And if you follow the money, you'll follow and see the conflict. And we're not going to say, oh, that's politics. See, that's what it's sort of drifted into that realm. Oh, well, that's politics. Oh, well, you know, it's rigged anyhow. Oh, no. The reason we have 112-311, the statute on conflict of interest, is to, it says right in the preamble, is to create and regain and maintain trust in government. Because if we don't have trust in government, how in the world are you going to hold together a civilization like ours? When a cop pulls you over, you know that he isn't just saying, you know, I'm pulling you over because I felt like it. He's working under statutes. So if the statute is there and it says no conflict, then we're not going to have our chief financial officer on the board auditing himself. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, and are the potential constituents responding to what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Are they getting it?
Absolutely, yeah. They're so excited about it. They say, well, wait a minute. Where's this been?
Yeah.
You know, whoa, yeah, you bet.
Yeah, you bring
and as a matter of fact, my phone's ringing off the hook. My emails, my phone's ringing off the hook. I just got a couple of great endorsements. One was from the Florida Christian Coalition, and another was from the Tea Party. Now, they're tough. The Tea Party is tough. Out of my group, bang, straw poll #1. Numero uno, #1. Now that's exciting to me. It's an endorsement of my background, of my integrity, of my approach. Little things. Look at this, sinkholes. I don't know how much time we've got, but it's in the news like mad. Sinkholes. What do? We put acid rain about 20 feet underneath the city, and we need to line the pipe. I mean, it's not that, we need to line it. We cannot just cut a hole in the bottom of a swale, let all this water go, and then say, shoot, why in the world are we having a sinkhole? It's like pouring a glass of water on an Alka-Seltzer. Calcium carbonate, CaCO3, that's what we're built on. It's a karst environment. It's when you put acid on limestone, it effervesces. I mean, this is geology 101. So don't put acid rain in. Line the pipe. Go ahead and pipe it to the springs if that's what you want to do. But do not. And they say, well, how about in a flood? Well, what you do is instead of having a hole, a drain at the bottom, you put the pipe almost up to the rim. So the only way is for water to get in and go direct is for it to be a catastrophic, a very big event. And then if it's a really big event, you pull the plug on the bottom and all the water just goes out anyhow. But that's an emergency. That's like a hurricane.
Yeah, I would think that that's an expense, what you just described right there.
It is an expense, but nothing's as expensive as melting Ocala from underneath.
Okay.
That is about as expensive as you get, okay? And they're happening everywhere now, and we've been doing this for about 60 years. Longer than you've been alive, Larry. They started doing it in the old days, okay, fine. Nobody really vetted it. Now we know. The geologists, they talk about it. So that's an example of integrity, sinkholes, bringing in new companies that pay $11 to $15. Okay, that's a huge liability, huge liability. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, not necessarily. If they're attracting all those jobs and the job only pays $21,000 to $32,000, who can live on that? You must start on the dole with that. And a little bit of that is fine. But we've got a whole company out there that's operating under our seal, under the Marion County seal. When I'm on the board, if the voters elect me to be on the board, only Marion County will operate. Marion County elected officials under these statutes will operate as the officials of Marion County. Right. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. It's not an Einstein move.
I think a lot of people didn't see
it work
until you started bringing it up. That and the natural gas vehicles, and there's so many things you've brought to the show to help us understand what your thoughts are on these things. So we appreciate you doing that, Don.
And they're pretty easy too. They're really these people think it takes a big Einstein move. No, it doesn't. It's just one grain at a time. It's like, don't pay a fortune to a credit card company because your whole family, your whole economic future is going to go right down the tubes. So let's just make sense.
As of last night, 11 p.m., 1,668 people have already early voted. And for those of you who want to go out and vote, you can early vote today, tomorrow, all the way through Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday you can't. But next Tuesday is the official election day. So
and don't forget Don Browning when you're doing it. I'm like this. I'm funding myself, and there's some other people that are funding themselves. And I'll tell you, I don't know how we're doing, but there's the difference between self-funded and this funded by these special interests is just it's incredible.
All the difference in the world, yes. Thank you, Don, as always.
You're welcome.
As always. We will take a little break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny and rather hot on this Monday with a high of 92 to 96. Partly cloudy and warm Monday night, low 73 to 77. For Tuesday, times of clouds and sun with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, but dry near the coast, the high 92 to 96. For Wednesday,